scrimmage. Play action. Tannehill fires. Intercepted. Picked on the play by Jesse Bates. And just line of scrimmage is the 10. Boy, do the Titans need that. Tannehill shotgun. Knocked up in the air. Intercepted. Mike Hilton's got it. And Tannehill goes back. Tannehill steps forward. Popped up in the air. Intercepted. Logan Wilson's got it for Cincinnati with 20 seconds to play.
I figured we would start off the show with that, and I hope my feed's coming in well. I had to switch connections right during the middle of that video, so hopefully that came in well for you. You probably didn't want to see it anyways, but I wanted to play that. It just is kind of a reminder, I guess. Not that I'm hating on Ryan Tannehill, because look, at the end of the day, Ryan Tannehill brought a lot of wins to this franchise. He might bring a lot more wins to this franchise. I mean, honestly, we don't know. You know, ultimately, you could call these rumors what's coming out about him. Everything in the offseason is a rumor until it happens, right? No matter if Ian Rappaport reports it. It's still a rumor until it happens, until it's dead and concrete, signed on the deal, good to go. Both teams release it officially on their pages, on their official whatever, you know. But I have my esteemed colleague and guest, Mr. Michael Bishop, on the show tonight, a.k.a. the Power Hour. And we're going to break down this news for you guys. So, and we'll just get right into it, Mike. Why not? So today, we got a little tidbit, a little bone thrown our way by our resident insider, Mr. James Wheeler, a.k.a. the Big Sportsman. And basically, you know, we released something. We'll put it on the screen here too. And thank you all for tuning in tonight. There's already 60 people in the building, which is incredible. So make sure y'all tighten up that like button, as we say at the Titan Upload Network, and subscribe if you haven't yet. This is the tweet from that we released today on the network. Basically, there's been news circulating all day about Ryan Tannehill. We've heard this all day. You know, there's been multiple media people release about Ryan Tannehill, possibly to the Jets, linking him to Todd Downing, the Jets. But we just got word from our insider of the Titan Upload Network. The Jets are willing to trade two, not one, two, 2023 draft picks for him and take on his full contract. Talks are ongoing. So, bam, there it is. What's your initial thoughts on this, man?
Well, Rusty, thanks for having me on a show again, and happy belated birthday, by the way. So I wanted to make sure I got that.
Thank you very much, man.
But, you know, we're already getting into fifth gear with the offseason, is what it appears to look like. And right now, it's a good tidbit to have. Ryan Tannehill's going to gauge some interest, and as the Jets seem very interested to potentially make a move. So it kind of tells me two things. And first off, Aaron Rodgers might be a little bit out of their price range. I would have to say that it's probably a situation they don't want to give up a lot of capital for somebody that's potentially only going to have maybe about a 2-year window. So it really doesn't match long-term with what their plans are to have some stability at quarterback. And second, it also says Ryan Tannehill has some very viable interest and that some teams see him as a potential game changer.
Yeah. And I agree with you there. And I think, you know, Ryan Tannehill has a few decent years left in him. And you got to look at, you know, like I said, I'm not a Tannehill hater. You know, there's some people out there who absolutely can't stand him. You know, and whatever, you know, however you feel about Tannehill, I'm not here to judge you. That's your own opinion, however you feel. But you got to look at this past season, the last two seasons, really, all the injuries to the Titans. I mean, an ungodly amount, an NFL record, not only for last season, but for 2 seasons in a row, a record. for cumulative for 2 seasons of injuries. It's unbelievable. Uncanny, never been done. And you look at the offensive line issues, you look at the injuries on the offensive line, you look at the lack of weapons. Even last year, he didn't have his weapons until the playoffs, really. He had AJ sparingly, he had Julio, a couple quarters here and there. Derrick Henry was hurt. This year, you look at this year, offensive line was hurt all season. The offensive line was terrible. You had who we shall not name on this channel playing right tackle, who gave up more sacks than any tackle in the league. And just to tear, you had Aaron Brewer, who was literally the size of Derrick Henry, playing offensive line. It's just, he had no weapons at all most of the season. He had Burks towards the latter half. It's hard to judge the guy, is what I'm trying to get to. It's hard to judge the guy. I feel like with Ryan Tannehill, you got to put a great team around him, a great offense around him for him to be great. For him to be above good, I guess. I don't want to say great, but above good. I'm not going to say above average, but above good, right?
Serviceable.
But I just feel like, and Mike, I'll ask you this. If you're the GM, if you're Rand Carthon and you're Mike Vrabel and you're going into next season, you could roll with Ryan Tannehill, right? Or you make a change, because the way you got to look at it, I feel like, is, okay, Ryan Tannehill is going to cost all this money. Is Ryan Tannehill willing to renegotiate? That's number one. What can you put around Ryan Tannehill if you keep Ryan Tannehill? So I guess the question I have for you is, if you get rid of Ryan Tannehill, you could potentially fix some issues, but then what do you do at quarterback? If you're planning on fixing all these other issues with the money that Ryan Tannehill is going to open and the draft picks that you're going to get, what now?
Well, really, it boils down to 3 options for the Titans if it happens. So the first and the basic one is you're going to have to go out in free agency and try and get one of these guys right now. You've got Jimmy Garoppolo, you've got Derek Carr, which is getting ready to start do his rounds through some of these teams. And you could potentially maybe have Aaron Rodgers or even Lamar Jackson if Baltimore can't work out a long-term deal. But, he's kind of on the back burner right now, so we'll get to him in a little minute. But realistically, you kind of got 3 guys out there that could potentially fill that void. So the Packers, it's not going to come without trading picks back. So, the market right now, the Packers are just trying to cash their chips in like they should have did last year. But realistically, you're going to have to give up a lot of draft capital to get Aaron Rodgers for potentially maybe just a 2-year term. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo, he fits, but can he stay healthy? That's my biggest concern about him. He's not always consistent playing-wise, but when he's usually on, he's on. And I kind of see him as a slight upgrade above what Ryan Tannehill is. But realistically, you can't really depend on him to stay healthy for the last few years. So Derek Carr comes into the conversation as well. Now, I know not a lot of people are high on him, and even I have my doubts. But realistically, some team out there values Derek Carr and thinks he could be the potential piece that reevaluates what they could be doing next season. I mean, think of it as kind of a Matthew Stafford situation. We knew Stafford was decent, but when he actually went to a team with somebody that knew how to utilize his talent, he got to the top of the mountain. Now, it's a stretch calling Derek Carr a Matthew Stafford kind of quarterback, but realistically, the right setup, the right offensive scheme, it's not unrealistic.
Right. And yeah, I mean, you look at, there's also a couple other ways the Titans could go with this as well. And this is all, I'm speaking in hypotheticals. Hypothetically, you trade Derek Carr. And thank you so much for tuning in tonight, guys. I see you in the chat. Y'all are going nuts. 95 people in the building. Please like and subscribe. We are going to get to your comments here in a few minutes. We're going to ask you guys some questions, get you guys involved. So thank you so much. But hypothetically, and we'll ask the chat this too. You go into you trade Derek Carr, say, for let's say a second or you trade Ryan Tannehill for, let's say, a second and a fifth, or whatever. A second and a fourth, I don't seems a little too much. I don't know, but second and a fifth, something like that. They take on his contract. I think taking on his contract is the key there. I mean, I if you're taking on his contract, trade him for 2 5th-round picks. I don't know, but say hypothetically they take care of the offensive line with the money they get from releasing or from trading Tannehill, releasing his salary. They get a second and a fifth or second and a fourth. They could use the second and fourth both to fix many things, considering the other picks that they have. Do you see them possibly rolling out with Josh Dobbs for a season? Is that even a possibility?
And I think it's a fair assessment. Right now, we can go over, at least 100 different scenarios of what the Titans want to do. We only just have what we have in just bold print from what we've got from James, Titans for Life, for giving us that nice bit of news today. So we know there's interest in Ryan Tannehill. We know there's negotiations going on or have gone on. We can confirm we can't confirm right now what numbers have been kicked out. A second, a third, a fourth, or fifth. Realistically, we're just kind of just throwing numbers at this moment till we get something solid, but we know it's 2 picks in this year's draft. So if they're willing to go with Dobbs, that really just sells me the narrative that they're going to go into a rebuild mode. They don't feel confident enough of what they have. There's not enough options for them to try and get more pieces. Realistically, money-wise, they're going to have to be very frugal. So in that scenario, it seems like the Titans would have to just kind of pinch pennies this season. And it's hard to hear as a fan, but realistically, that may be an option the Titans might go with if they can't get what they need and potentially just have to just do with what they have.
And some more news that came out. It might have been yesterday when he was hired, but Todd Downing gets hired as the passing coordinator of the New York Jets, which, absolutely baffled me. That absolutely baffled me. I did not think he would get hired. I thought he would get hired as like a positions coach, maybe go back to being a tight ends coach or something like that, especially with the DUI and everything. For whatever reason, Todd Downing he's got some respect among the league. There was a story that came out this past season where they were talking about him being a head coach somewhere. And for whatever reason, Todd Downing keeps getting opportunities. And I'm not hating on the man. Look, believe me, I've been through my share of issues in my life. Don't get me wrong. I've come out of them. I've been able to change my life and come out the other side. And I think everybody deserves another chance, no matter what that is in life. If it's bad coaching, you get a DUI, whatever, you go to jail, prison, whatever, But it just blows my mind that the guy goes from basically being run out of Oakland for his performance at the OC position, and then basically being ran out of Tennessee, not because of the DUI, because of his coaching. And now he's getting another chance with the coordinator title by his name with the New York Jets. It's mind-boggling to me. And why not bring in Tannehill? I mean, do you know anything about, I don't know. Do you know anything about Tannehill's and Downing's relationship? Did they have a close relationship?
I can't confirm or deny their relationship or how much of a personal relationship that they would have with one another, but to me, it just feels like that Downing coming into the situation was just another puzzle piece for the Jets to potentially add another quarterback to their roster, which they're trying to vie for in free agency or through trade. So realistically, you look at them going after Nathaniel Hackett. Work with Aaron Rodgers. Figured that'd be just an enticing kind of point to like bring Aaron Rodgers into New York. So once they started talking with Green Bay about what they would potentially have to give up, that kind of shut the door on that for the moment. So you're in a quarterback market, you bring in Todd Downing. You have a passing coordinating job opening, so you fill in that. You get him on the staff, and you start hearing about the quarterback relationship that he's had with Ryan Tannehill. So the Jets think, well, we might not be able to get Aaron Rodgers. Ryan Tannehill's just as serviceable. He's won some pretty decent games. He's been Tennessee's really best quarterback since Steve McNair, and I'll say it, and I'm not going to have any shame saying it. The numbers aren't going to lie.
Yeah.
So the Jets are in a position where they feel that Tannehill's good enough to basically get them to be in a playoff caliber position. So it's worth the trade talks, and it's worth trying to make it happen.
And, the Jets are not a terrible team. Like they got Garrett Wilson, reigning offensive rookie of the year. They have Corey Davis. I don't know if Corey Davis will still be there or whatever, but they have some good players. They got a good running back there. So Moore. The Jets. Who is it?
You got Elijah Moore. You got Denzel Mims.
Elijah Moore. Yeah. So they got some weapons. So it might be a good fit for Ryan Tannehill. He's got familiarity with Downing already. And honestly, who knows how. I want to say that Todd Downing is a bad coach. But at the end of the day, I'm not an NFL coach. I'm not a previous NFL player. I played a little football in high school. I'm just a fan. Who knows what the actual coaches see of him and how much they respect him and how smart he is as far as X's and O's. Who knows? He might be a good coach one day, and he might show it with the Jets. All power to him if he does. I do want to get to some of these comments here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Please go follow the Power Hour on YouTube. He's got an awesome YouTube channel. You guys go check him out. He goes live every Monday at 7:00, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so every Monday at 7:00, like clockwork, even in the off season, the Power Hour is on there, giving you guys the latest in Titans football and NFL news as a whole. And also check him out on TikTok. He's got a pretty big TikTok following. He has set up the Titan Upload Network on TikTok as well. So we appreciate him for that. But let's get to some of these comments here. Make sure y'all hit that like button for us. I'm going to scroll back a little bit here. I appreciate all you guys tuning in from Facebook tonight. We got a lot of people. We're broadcasting through our Facebook page, the Titan Upload Network Facebook page. So you can join that. We even have a group message thing where you can message all the fans in the group. It's pretty sweet. So y'all go join that on Facebook. We're trying to grow that. All right, let's get back. Let's scroll back here a little bit. We got some people talking about Aaron Rodgers, and we'll touch on Aaron Rodgers too. DBS says, let's wait and see what happens. I would love to see Titans somehow, some way get to the Super Bowl 58 because it's in Las Vegas. I would love that too. Chris Fraser's in the building. He's become a follower now of the channel. He's been watching a lot of live shows. So shout out to him, and go follow Chris Fraser's Facebook group, Titan Up for Life. He's got thousands of followers on that thing. So y'all go join his page as well. Some of these armchair GM that plays Madden with cap space turned off are shining bright and ever. Yeah, I hear you there. Titan Upload is in the building. He says, hit that like button. Damon says, Aaron Rodgers, so we can give Malik Willis some more time to develop.
Aaron Rodgers isn't a teacher. He's not.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't, especially not at this point in his career. I mean, I'm sure he would be humble and give the guy pointers and stuff, but I don't see him being like a, straight up
I'll put it this
tutor.
way: he's not going to help him out, but he's not going to say it out loud like Tannehill did.
Right. So. Right. Steven Crocio says Aaron Rodgers is going to cost 2 first-round draft picks. No way. Ryan Tannehill is going to give us what we need in that trade. Derek Carr is another version of Tannehill in all reality. I guess let's do this little debate for a minute. Derek Carr versus Tannehill. Who's better?
I mean, if you're going to go throughout the whole career and add playoffs to the mix, I'd have to go Tannehill.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think Tannehill brings more to the table with his legs. I guess the knock on Tannehill is he's not really wanting to run much anymore. I don't know, but and y'all let us know in the chat. We'll do the exercise. Who's better? Who would you rather want on the Titans next season? Ryan Tannehill or Derek Carr?
I will say this. When you look at the quality of wins that Ryan Tannehill has, he's beaten Patrick Mahomes. He's beaten Lamar Jackson. He's beaten Tom Brady. So he has some quality wins to his name.
Yeah, that's very true, man. That is very true. And if you look at Carr's body of work, I mean, he was in a totally different offense than Ryan Tannehill's been in. I mean, Carr has been in that Oakland offense, just they throw the ball a ton. He's averaged over 4,000 yards a game. I think he's thrown more interceptions than Tannehill in his career and some of you in the chat could look that up, but I think he's thrown more interceptions in his career than Ryan Tannehill. So I don't know, but let us know in the chat what you think. Do you think who's better, Ryan Tannehill or Derek Carr? In your opinion, who would you rather have if you had a choice coming up for this next season? Let's see. Will you address New York Jets Matt's tweet? I don't know what that is. Do you know who that is?
I have no idea. I mean, Broadway Jets, you give us a little more detail on that. I mean, we'll address it.
Yeah, we'll definitely address it. I don't know if I know him. I don't really know the New York Jets Twitter people, New York Jets Matt. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
I mean, if I'm looking in the comments, there's a Jets Mets 21. So I don't know if that's his handle or what.
Yeah, I don't know. Broadway Jets, if you're still in here, let us know what the tweet said, and we'll definitely bring it up for sure. Another Facebook user post: Derek Carr is literally lateral movement. I agree with you there. I mean, maybe even a drop off. I don't know. Titans will draft a guy in the top 5 next season. Next season or this season? Because we've heard rumors of that too. Al Pierce is in the building on the contract. How will the trade deal with dead money that's already been paid? How will the trade deal? Can you answer that one? Do you know what he's saying there?
I think what he's asking is just where the dead money's already just going to basically count against us. How is the Jets going to take over on this contract? Because initially the Titans would have to cut Tannehill, but then the dead money situation comes up. So, I mean, it's a numbers game and it gets complicated.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with that post-June 1st thing too. I think that plays a lot into it as far as that goes. Let's see. Upload says tank if you go Dobbs. Yeah, I could see that. Let's see what else. Let me get down to the bottom here, and we'll kind of move on to the next topic here. Thank y'all so I can't even keep up with your freaking comments. There's so many. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I got to skip some of you guys. Let's see. Okay, let's get to the Tannehill and Carr thing that I asked earlier. Okay, I'm rolling back here. All right, I think we're at it here. Let's answer this one real quick. S. Rob says, "What do you think the odds are Tannehill is dealt?" What do you think?
I mean, right now, the best I can give right now is just 50%. We just have a good
Yeah,
lead, and it's just kind of waiting and seeing what happens with these negotiations. We know that at this moment, the Jets are interested. There's been picks that have been just offered. We don't know what numbers. And realistically, it's just probably going to come down to the contract discussion. How much are the Jets willing to take on? How much are the Titans willing to take on? Are the Jets willing to restructure and give him a new deal? So a lot of that's going to come into play, and I think that's really what's going to basically make or break this entire deal.
yeah, very true. And I feel like I agree with you there. And I've had a lot of people private message me today, asking me, hey, what are the odds on a scale of 1 to 10? What do you think? And what's the percentage? And I said, man, I really don't know, but I would say 50, maybe 60. The only reason I would say 60%, here's the reason why. Because, and shout out to James of our network, the big sportsman. He's got a
Yeah.
YouTube channel, Titans for Life. Shout out to him, man, because that dude is hard at work all the time. You know, dude's got a full-time job. He's got a kid. He's got, he's always in the know. He's always talking to his sources. He's always, helping us out and breaking information to us. And shout out to him. But, he's been talking about this. He's been talking about this for a few weeks about how the Titans are seriously talking about the future of Ryan Tannehill. And there's been talk that they're kind of split on it. Like there's part of the people in the building who want to keep him, and there's some people who want to deal him away or want to do something else or want to move forward. I think you're kind of at that point in the Titans. You're kind of in limbo right now as an organization because you're not terrible, right? You've been good for the last 5 or 6. You've been one of the best, right, Mike? You've been one of the top 5 teams in the league, record wise, the last 6 seasons.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
you've been dominant in just about every matchup you've been in. You've been in the playoffs basically since Mike Vrabel showed up almost every year. So realistically, age, injury, and just bad contracts really just hurt this team and bad trades.
yeah, yeah, and so I mean, they're kind of in limbo. They're kind of in this spot of where they're not terrible, they're not in complete rebuild mode. They're kind of in this. I don't want to call it a retool, but kind of a. There's two ways you can go. There's two ways you can go. And they can choose either one. I don't know if necessarily either one's going to be a bad thing or a good thing because at some point you kind of got to rebuild a little bit, but you could try and retool and get a couple more decent seasons out of Tannehill and get some winning seasons. But I think where Amy's at, she's wanting a championship. She's wanting to go higher and higher. It's why they brought in Rand Carthon. That's why they're making these moves. Nobody is safe right now in that organization other than Mike Vrabel. And obviously Tim Kelly. They've hired some people, but they've done a lot of moving around this offseason. And a lot of times when you do moving around like that, it's if you've won like 2 games during the season, and you've been a crap franchise for the last few years. So they're looking to excel. They're looking to get to a point where they really are a legit contender and they're not just, oh, it's just the Titans, man. Oh, it's just, they'll be good for here and there, but then they'll lose games they're not supposed to lose. And, we'll talk good about them for a couple of weeks and then they'll kind of do something stupid. I think she wants to get to that elite level, and I think she wants to do it, especially with this new stadium being built.
And that's a big selling point. You have to keep the fans' interest gauged for the next 4 years. So I mean, if you've got to do a restructure or a refurbish or a rebuild or whatever you want to call it, I mean, realistically, this is the best time to do it.
Yeah. I saw, oh yeah, Steve McNair. Shout out to Steve up there in heaven, man. It's his birthday today. So happy Steve McNair today, and follow Kenmore Sports too.
Shout
But
out to you,
man,
Ken.
I should have put a video together of Steve and played it on tonight's show, but I didn't have time. But Steve McNair, my all-time favorite Tennessee Titan. Probably, I mean, honestly, my all-time NFL player. If I'm going to be, because I didn't start watching the NFL until the Titans came to town about 21 years ago, something like that. So for me, Steve McNair is my all-time favorite player, hands down. He was my dad's favorite player. So, you know, definitely shout out to Mr. McNair and his family and everybody. Let's see here. All right, let's kind of get to the next thing. All right, Derek Carr. This came out today too. We talked about Derek Carr a lot, but this came out. Ian Rappaport said this. I'll go ahead and play the clip. A to Z played it this morning. So let's roll this and we'll kind of touch on it.
Right before the Super Bowl, sources said Derek Carr informed the Raiders that he would not accept a trade to the New Orleans Saints, and the two teams had essentially worked out the framework of a deal. Could have been done had Derek Carr given his okay, but he wasn't going to accept a trade anywhere. His fully guaranteed money, $40 million, becomes guaranteed tomorrow at 4 p.m. Because he is not going to accept a trade, I'm told the Raiders are going to release him tomorrow. He will no longer be the Raiders quarterback. They will simply move on, get out from under the money, and plot their new path forward with a new quarterback. And then Derek Carr will instantly become the top free agent available. Unlike most free agents who have to wait until mid-March, he could sign now. Among the teams expected to be interested, still the Saints, the Panthers, the Jets, the Titans, and
What do you think about that? Is there real serious interest from the Titans on Derek Carr?
I can't say no, but I can't say yes either. I really think the mindset of the Titans, it's either they're going to go all out and try and lock down Aaron Rodgers, or they're going to try and get younger at that position, which you acquire by getting picks from the draft in a trade like this, which Ryan Tannehill has value. So, realistically, if the Titans are looking in the draft, which quarterback's intriguing to them?
Yeah, and that's a good question to ask too. I mean, and we've talked about this too, about the Titans possibly trading up. Somebody had who had released that. Let's see. I think it was the Ben Devine guy. Did you ever get a message back from him?
I never got a response back for him, and it's a shame because unfortunately it was just a situation I felt that was worth discussing if he wanted to come on and discuss it with us. But unfortunately, we just never heard back from him. So it's just kind of it went quiet for the moment.
I know he had spoke with Easton Freeze from Broadway Sports. I know he had spoke with him for a little bit and, this and that, but obviously we don't know. I mean, this guy, it could be true, could be not true. Who am I to say? We release news. We're fans, pretty much. We're not credentialed media. But this was interesting, and it's gonna be a trip this offseason, man, to see what the Titans do. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited about this offseason, man, because there's gonna be so many rumors surrounding the Titans, and it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun for the channel. It's gonna be fun for conversation, for all y'all to come in here and us shoot the crap over and have a lot of fun over it, and all that type of stuff. So I look forward to it. But if you're going to pick one of these guys, if you're going to trade up, say you do trade Ryan Tannehill and you get a second and a fourth, and you got CJ Stroud and Bryce Young on the table. Who are you taking, Mike?
And really, that's a tough one because, you know, my best evaluation of them as quarterbacks, in the previous year, you know, Bryce Young was just on fire at that point when he won the Heisman that year. And CJ Stroud had one of the best completion percentages out of any quarterback, which was like well over 70%. So
Yeah.
that right there was just jaw dropping. But this season, there's definitely a drop off on both ends. Stroud definitely just wasn't making the bigger plays that he was last year. And Bryce Young and Brian Johannes, our draft expert, brought this up in a conversation that we had earlier. He didn't throw a lot of deep balls because Alabama didn't have a lot of receiving help. So you saw a lot of dump offs to tight ends and running backs. So it was really hard to evaluate Stroud, especially from that standpoint, from a talent evaluation. But if I have to pick any of the top 2 tier quarterbacks that I feel would fit the best offense, it would probably be CJ Stroud, just because I like his completion percentage better, and I think he just has the weight on him that he's more NFL ready, more than what Bryce Young does.
Right. I think that's the consistent consensus too. And Bryce Young is small. Like, I mean, he's like what, 190 pounds, if that.
I think he's about 190, 95.
Yeah. So I mean, he is a small quarterback. Obviously, that's concerning. I mean, you look at Tua. Tua was actually bigger. I mean, he's like, I think Tua is like 210 or 215 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Jay Tyrus said it well. Young's frame makes me nervous, and
Now, he is putting weight on with a nutritionist right now, so I haven't seen
right,
any photos. I don't know anything else, but he's trying to put on about 25 pounds of muscle, so that's just something else to keep an eye on.
yeah. I mean, in bottom line, he does have to get bigger. I mean, there's no doubt about it. A little, at least put some muscle on or something, because I think that's kind of where Kyle Phillips fell into last year. Is just he was too small. I mean, his frame was too small. Now, I mean, you got small guys in NFL that can take a hit, and they get back up. And it's just the way that their muscle, I mean, how they're built and everything. You got some guys who just their muscle memory or muscle tone is built for to take hits the NFL game. I mean, there's some receivers out there that are 175 pounds who are taking licks and getting right back up. But I guess it's just a different type of strength that being able to endure in every game, every a long NFL season. And I hope Kyle Phillips does. I mean, I hope he comes back and kills it for us, because he's exciting to watch as far as that goes. But back to Young and I'm getting sidetracked here. Back to Young and CJ Stroud. If you're going with I would get Stroud, in my opinion. I just like him. Now, I mean, you got the knock on him that he is an Ohio State quarterback. And not a lot of them have panned out lately in the NFL. So I mean, that's an issue too. But I mean, I don't know, man. I really like Stroud. I think he's kind of NFL ready. I don't think he's far off. I don't think he's necessarily a project player or anything like that. Um, I don't know. But in your opinion too, Mike, if we move on kind of into what we have now, which is Ryan Tannehill, which is Malik, which is Dobbs, and y'all let me know in the chat. What do you think about Malik, man? I mean, is Malik, we all know Malik's a project player, but how much do you think that they believe in Malik? And do you think that they're willing to let him sit behind somebody? And I mean, do you think Rand is trying to mold him into a starting quarterback eventually? I mean, I don't know. What's the plan?
The plan's basically to have the best quarterback available playing the game. And if it means going out and trading for somebody, if it means going out and drafting somebody, or if they feel that Malik can progress through the offseason. They're going to do what they feel is best for the team. But get into the Malik situation, it's really just going to depend on what Tim Kelly can do with him individually. Now, I know Tim Kelly's been getting knocked on a lot, but realistically, look at the track record he's had with a lot of the quarterbacks in his previous stop with the Houston Texans. He's done work with Deshaun Watson, and he was pretty progressive in there, especially in the last couple of years in being in that offensive system where they really didn't have that many weapons and they were basically injury riddled. You look at Davis Mills. He made Davis Mills relevant. So there's some intrigue there. If you can make Davis Mills, relevant and interesting, then maybe you're pretty damn good at your job. So I kind of want to see what Tim Kelly can do with a quarterback with a rocket arm and can be elusive at time with his legs. I'm not against trying to get him prepared for the NFL. It's just, is he going to sink in that knowledge and be prepared when his times come?
Yeah. And yeah, I've saw the, I watched the somebody had posted I think it was No Context Titans or No Context Tennessee Titans on Twitter. They had posted the McNair mashup today, and shout out to them. They do great work on their Twitter. I saw McNair and I thought for a second, and y'all might slam me for this one. I was thinking, man, Malik could maybe be like that. Like he's built big like McNair, kind of similar speed, probably faster, just a strong bulldozing type of quarterback. And I would love to see Malik pan out in the NFL. If it's not for us, somebody else, whatever, I really like the guy. I like his personality a lot. He seems like a really good dude. Like, he took a picture with me and Tyler and his wife from Titans Time podcast. His whole family was with him and was so gracious that his cousin took the picture for us. Just a nice dude. But I just don't know if the Titans are. I guess it really all depends on what they're going to do this offseason, where they're going to go. It just depends.
And I mean, that falls back to just the discussion of if they do trade Ryan Tannehill. I mean, the Titans are in a position where they need bodies. They need talent out there. There's talent sprinkled around, but realistically, you got an offensive line that needs a complete overhaul. You need another receiver next to Treylon Burks, especially if Kyle Phillips can't stay healthy. And I hate to say it, guys, but realistically, couldn't hurt to look at some of these other running backs to potentially split some time with Derek.
Yeah. Yeah, very true, man. Because, I mean, ultimately, how long does Derek have left? I mean, how long do we have a productive Derek left? I mean, I think we got another good couple seasons out of him where he's going to be pretty productive. You know what I mean? Like, he's still going to be, in my opinion, he's going to be tops in the league and yards and, productivity, touchdowns and things like that. But I mean, just because I think he's built different, just the way that he takes. I look at Derrick Henry, the way he takes care of his body, almost like Tom Brady. I mean, Derrick could be one of those running backs that kind of break the mold, that maybe goes a little longer than most running backs and is productive. Hell, he might be productive 5 years from now. We never know, But like you said, maybe it's time to start kind of sharing the load, take a little heat off him so we can preserve him a little bit. So we're not just relying on him to carry our whole entire offense. Because look, the Titans stayed inside and hired Tim Kelly. And what do you think of that? Do you think that this offense is going to be different? What does Tim Kelly bring to the table?
Tim Kelly's going to bring a passing element to the game. And basically, from the film that I've got to evaluate of him in his previous offenses, with what he did with the Texans. I mean, there's similarities there to what Arthur Smith did. You know, there's creativity. He knows how to mismatch against defenses. He understands that you got to mix it up. And that's one thing that I feel a little more confident about him. Now, I know everybody's been giving him the third degree, but realistically, I feel better with Tim Kelly at the helm than I ever did with Todd Downing.
Yeah, 100%, man. I do too. And I wanted the Titans to go outside. I really did. I mean, but at the end of the day, how much better is, one of the things that we released was the Titans were really interested in Nagy. We released this a week ago or something. Mike Vrabel wants to promote from within, but is not putting up too much of a fight, willing to work together. Well, apparently, they worked together and they both decided that Tim Kelly would be the best fit. Now, I mean, how much better is Matt Nagy than Tim Kelly? I mean, really, at the end of the day, like if you look at Matt Nagy's body of work compared to Tim Kelly, I don't know. I'm not a Matt Nagy expert. I don't know. Maybe you know more than me on that front.
Well, with Nagy, it was timing. I don't think Tennessee was going to wait any longer than they had to, so they had to make a move with the offensive coordinator position. And they felt the best way to go was with Tim Kelly. Now, I mean, with Matt Nagy, I'm not sure. With Eric Bieniemy, I would be interested there, and I feel bad for the guy going through the fifth hiring cycle and not having a head coaching job, which is infuriating at this point. So I will say God bless Andy Reid for really just throwing his name out there and giving him praise that he really deserved, especially after the Super Bowl win. But, Tennessee had to do what they had to do. I think it was just timing. They needed to move on. They needed to make some decisions. And having an offensive coordinator in position to help evaluate the process of what the Titans need to do this upcoming offseason was the top priority going forward.
And Steven makes a good point. He says already looks different. They moved Pat O'Hara, Tony Dews, and Les Steckles positions, made Tony Dews tight end coach, brought in Charles London and Justin Alton. Is Justin Alton the new running backs coach?
From Denver, yeah. And he took over the play calling duties for week 17 and week 18, and he did a pretty good job.
Wow, interesting. I haven't really done much research on him yet. I just had heard about it, but I do like Charles London. I think that's a really good hire, bringing him in. Heard some good things about him too. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got here, man. I had something else here. Let's see. We'll go back here. I guess we'll try to get to an hour here. We got 105 people in the building, which is insane. The live shows have been unbelievable the last month. Heck, ever since the season ended, everybody started flooding in, but we have released a lot of news recently, and it's been really good, man. And y'all tighten up that like button. If you haven't liked the show yet, please do. We got 100 people in the building. I don't know how many likes we're at. If somebody could let me know in the chat, but we should be at least 50, if not 75. Let's get to 100 today, guys. That would be fantastic. It helps the algorithm, helps put a little money back into the channel too, with money from views and things like that. So please hit the like button. All you got to do is tap out of the chat real quick, and boom, hit the like. It's literally a half a second process. So if we could kind of get a like blitz going on, that would be fantastic. And like I said, go follow the Power Hour. This guy is consistent. He brings great news. He brings great content. That's why we brought him on at the Titan Upload Network. We were thrilled to death to get him. We've been trying for a long time to reel him in, and we finally did. So, we're blessed to have you here, man.
I appreciate it, Rossi. I mean, it's because of the fans why we're successful, and you guys are fantastic. You guys are fantastic tonight and every night. So just make sure you're tightening up that like button and follow us on all our social media platforms. We're trying to get the Titan Upload Network to some massive heights, and it's because of you we'll get there.
Yeah, definitely. And Eric says 40 something likes. There's gotta be you gotta hit the like button, man. We gotta get those likes up. Grandizer, I'm saying hi to you now. Hi, buddy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Grandizer's been supporting the channel for a long time. So, and shout out to all you guys in here. Datsun, Titan the Tiger, Kevin, Max, Nancy, Top Tier, Rob, all you guys, man. William Young's in the building tonight. Jets will be the Jets. It's crazy. I don't understand what the Jets do half the time. They're unbelievable. Datsun, we got a lot of Facebook users in here tonight, which is really cool. So if you're watching on Facebook, you're watching from the Titan Upload Network Facebook page. So thank you so much for watching on there, because we're streaming live from there too. And we're going to start streaming live to Twitter, and hopefully we can start doing some multi-streams or cross-streaming too. It'd be cool. Wayne G says we're up to 57 likes, so we got a few likes there in the last few minutes there. So thank you so much.
Keep it
going. Yeah, keep it going for us, guys. That's awesome. You guys rock. So moving forward, the NFL, look, the NFL offseason is rolling. March 15th. Mark that on your calendar. That's when the free agency starts. That's when the things are really going to start heating up. How do you think, as far as going into this offseason, how are the Titans going to take care of the offensive line? Do you see them doing it mainly in the draft, a combination? Are we going to have the money? Is there anybody out there that you know of in free agency or draft for offensive linemen that you kind of got your eye on?
I mean, honestly, I haven't had a chance to look at the free agents coming up this year. I mean, I've still got like a bunch of draft stuff I'm working on, but I don't see it being out of the question the Titans going through free agency to fill some needs. I just think, realistically, they know they're going to have to pay a few of their guys, so that's where a good piece of your money's going. And whatever they decide to do with some of the other players that have a lot of cap hits coming, those decisions are going to loom pretty heavy. But realistically, I could see the Titans potentially going after a few linemen through free agency. But think of it this way. If we could get like just a very solid caliber, guard or even tackle through free agency that nobody's really looking at because of our GM who uses analytics, and I appreciate that he uses analytics because, let's be honest, that's something the Titans haven't been doing, ever. So there's value out there. And I think realistically, the best part of having Rand Carthon as the GM, he's going to find value. He's going to find talent.
Right.
And it's out there. And it's cheap.
Yeah, I think you're right too, man. I'm excited to see what he does there. It's going to be interesting to see. I think it all depends what they do in the draft as far as if they trade up. I don't see them trading up for the number one pick. I just don't see it happening. I think they it depends. If they trade away Tannehill, I think if they trade away Tannehill, they're obviously going to have to do something. Like they're going to have to make a move for either Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers. If they trade away Tannehill, that's going to be really telling. If they don't, then I think, obviously you got to go with offensive linemen in the first round. I mean,
now,
you go with
one thing we didn't mention, Rossi, and in a lot of mock drafts, you have Will Levis falling out of the top 10. You have Anthony Richardson falling out of the top 10. So Rand Carthon does have Florida connections, so could be something to think about.
Anthony Richardson, I watched a lot of tape on him the other day. He's an interesting talent. I just feel like if you already have Malik, I don't like bringing Anthony Richardson on. I mean, I don't know, man. I think he's probably more seasoned than Malik. He's played in the SEC, but he didn't really have that great a career in Florida. I mean, he wasn't putting up insane stats or anything. I mean, he's got a lot of talent, you know what I mean? But do we want to go that route? Do we? I mean, we already have Malik. I don't know.
That depends on what happens in the combine and pro days. And that usually kind of tells the story of what teams are thinking by then. And if he goes
Yeah.
out, he performs well in the combines, and if he has a spectacular pro day, I mean, that could change a lot of minds.
And the same thing with Will Levis. You know, a lot of people, it seems like fans are down on him, but scouts are pretty high on him. I know he's fell a little bit, but I've heard rumors of the Colts liking him, things like that. I mean, Will Levis, I've seen a lot of his tape too. The guy's got a world of talent. He really does. But I don't know, man. I kind of look at Will Levis as kind of like this. I don't want to say, I don't know, like David Cutler type of guy. Like, I mean, I just feel like, I don't know. He
I
could
can
be
see that.
decent. He could be decent, but not like ever that great. He might have a decent season here and there. I don't know. He might be a complete bust.
He could be the next Josh Allen. I mean, that's just it's a roll.
Yeah.
It's a flip of the coin. You never know what's going to happen. We can only just speculate off what we see and what we know. There's a reason why you and I aren't NFL scouts, but I mean, realistically, it just depends on what happens down the road. If you perform at the combine, if you perform in your pro day, that builds your stock up. That gets eyes on you. That's how you get the big bucks.
Yeah, and I mean, you look who got drafted before Pat Mahomes. You know, Trubisky. You know, people thought Trubisky was better than Mahomes, and you look at it now. You know, Mahomes will, as of right now, he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game at this point in his career. I mean, he's phenomenal.
I mean, people said Ryan Leaf was a better quarterback than Peyton Manning. It's not a perfect
Yep.
system. We just work with what we got.
Right, exactly right. A lot of people brought up Hendon Hooker's name. You know, he's a guy that could be a second round, possibly third round if he falls. I don't like the injury. But like I said, I mean, what throws a wrench into all this is Malik Willis. You know, like, why would you go and draft a quarterback in the second, third round if you got Malik Willis? I guess it all depends on what type of faith do you have in Malik Willis? How much do you like Hendon Hooker? How, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of questions to be asked and answered, and it's gonna be a while before they get answered as far as that goes. I don't know. What I want to touch on, last thing I want to touch on, and thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate it. We released the news today. We'll show it one more time in case any of you missed it during the show tonight. We released this news today on the Titan Upload Network. Dude, as of now, Mike, this has over 250,000 views on Twitter. It's insane. I took
Going
this
global.
screenshot maybe an hour after we released it. But it's pretty wild. So we released this earlier. Jets are willing to trade 2023 draft picks for Ryan Tannehill and take on his full contract. That you heard that first on the Titan Upload Network. So that's the type of news you get from us.
And guys,
And
we
will
back
it turn out?
back our sources. We 100%
Yeah.
back our sources. When we get news from them, or James gets news from them, you know, if we get the thumbs up, we're running with it. We have yet to miss on any of these stories that we've been given. So if you're going to judge us on our track record. Our track record is pretty damn impressive.
And it's funny, I'll have people like that kind of comment on some stuff we post that's never seen our posts before, and I'll say, hey man, just peep the resume. That's all you got to do. And right now it is at 273,000 views on Twitter. So that's pretty pretty incredible. We had a tweet back when DeMar Hamlin got injured, and when we released some news about the NFLPA and how the players took control and said we're not going to play. That had 1.5 million views on Twitter. So shout out to all y'all on Twitter who back us as well. And like Rossi said, or Eric says, Rossi never caps. There you go. I like that. I want to get to this, man, before we end, because I was kind of irritated over this. And honestly, the Super Bowl was great. Don't get me wrong. It was a great game, right? I mean, it was a pretty good game. But when that penalty happened at the very end of the Chiefs' drive, what was it, 3rd and 8? There's about 2 minutes to go. They throw it. Mahomes, the ball is not catchable to begin with. I'm thinking, awesome. The Eagles are going to get a chance to come back, at least tie it. The Chiefs would have kicked the field goal. Just kind of deflated me, man. Just kind of deflated. I think a lot of people kind of turned off the TV at that point. They're just upset. Let's play the play. Let's play the clip real quick, and we'll talk about it.
Worst case scenario, you'll see James Bradbury. They're going to say he grabs him. He's got his left hand on his back. I don't know. Mike, listen, I think on this stage, I think you let him play. Obviously, Mahomes thought he saw it. I think.
So, what are your thoughts on that, man? Penalty, no penalty? Should it have been called? What do you think?
And I talked about this on my show last night, and check that out, y'all, by the way, on my page on YouTube. And my whole thought process was, it's like watching a great movie with a really bad ending. You're on the edge of your seat, it's intriguing, and then all of a sudden, just the air gets let out of the room. So my initial thoughts are, it's pretty basic. I hate the call, but it was the right call. And I say that because you can't grab a guy's jersey. Doesn't matter in what sense or however little or minimal it is, they're always going to throw a hanky. And
yeah,
as much as I hated it, it was the right call.
And here's the issue I had with it, right? So all game long, you got holding. You could darn near call holding on every play, probably. There's probably somebody that's holding at some point. You know what I mean? All game long, I was seeing holds the entire game, that wasn't being called for both sides, right? And it's not the fact that, okay, after looking at it, it was a hold. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a conspiracy or nothing. At first, I was pissed, just because I can't stand the Chiefs and I hate Travis Kelce. I can't stand Travis Kelce. I did a whole video about it on this channel. I can't stand the guy. He's obnoxious. I wouldn't even want to meet the guy. He seems so obnoxious. The way he's always yelling, just talking crap to everybody, throwing his helmet down during the Titans game, not getting face mask penalties called when he's ripping guys' helmets off. They give them 3 tries at the 2-point conversion against us. I just got a lot of resentments, Mike. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe they're not warranted, but I have personal resentments towards Travis Kelce and the Chiefs as a whole. But shout out to Holly Winchell. She's a big Chiefs fan. She follows us and Titan Upload Network. She was there, so shout out to her. But it was just like, really, are we really gonna do this right now? Are we really gonna end the Super Bowl like this? This is how it's gonna happen. Holding all damn game, holding the entire game, but we're gonna end the Super Bowl like this. But I get it. A penalty's a penalty. What's seen is seen. What's not seen is not seen. You can't call it if you don't see it. So you can't watch every single player at every single moment, no matter how many referees you have. You know what I mean? But the problem I have all year is, and I know I'm ranting and raving, the problem I've had all year, the past couple years, Mike, is the inconsistencies in the NFL officiating. It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse and worse over the last few years. I don't know what it is. I don't know where they're finding these guys. I don't know what the hell's going on. You know, are they getting these guys off Pee-wee football leagues? Are they not paying them enough? Are they not consistent enough? The NFL needs to do something about this, and they need to address this during the offseason. In my opinion, it needs to be a focal point about consistency. You know, that's what gets me. And that's what brings up the conspiracy talk. That's what brings up the rig talk. I don't think the NFL is rigged. There's too much that goes into it. I'm with Pat McAfee on that. Too many people would have to be involved. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? Like, as far as the inconsistencies?
I agree with you, Rossi. I mean, you know, the officials, they're not even full-time employees. This is something they do part-time. They have regular careers. Ed Hockley was an attorney during the offseason. So these officials have careers in other professions. And to me, I think that's one of the problems. I think the officiating crew needs to be consistently improving over the offseason, just like players do. Try to improve their bodies, try to improve their technique, try to improve their gameplay. Officials need to improve on making calls, on being able to visually make these calls. But let's be realistic. That's the human error. You're only going to catch so much just from the naked eye. And I've said many times on some of the shows that I put on the air, one of the things the NFL needs to do is to embrace technology. The booth needs to have a little more say. If they see something up in the booth or up in New York, they can phone in and say, look, like, this just happened. It needs to be called. Now, some people say that'll slow the game down, but I want consistency. And I know it's never going to be perfect, but let's be realistic. In the day and age we live in, where we have cameras on just about every damn thing on that field, there is no reason why we can't have better angles, better adjustments, better viewing. That not only helps the viewers, that helps the referees. Because they're looking at what we see too. And let's be honest, one of the reasons I think the whole, script talk has come up and it's gotten bigger, it's because look at how much involvement the NFL has in on-site gambling. It's everywhere. That's where money's coming in. So people are starting to think, well, wait, now the NFL's got legalized gambling and has ties in with some of these sponsors. Does that mean some of these games are just being thrown just to save a few bucks? So I get that. But I'm not tinfoil hat guy. It's like you said, that's too damn big to cover up. And I don't care how much you pay somebody, they're going to talk. That's just something you can't keep to yourself. So let's be realistic about that.
Yeah. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, the NFL is a big business, and you can't tell me, there's not something, there's not a little bit of this and that that's mixed in the pot. You know what I mean? These guys, they're pros on marketing, the whole gambling thing. I just think, maybe you pay the refs more. Maybe you have full-time refs. Maybe, I know, obviously they're only going to be working a few months out of the year, because the NFL's from, well, you got 5 months. Well, you throw in preseason, so you're looking from August to early August to you got the playoffs, February, I guess. End of the season is January something, or early January,
roughly.
Yeah. So you look at that. You're looking at 5 or 6 months, but maybe during the off season you have them do something else. Maybe during the off season they're, going through a month-long boot camp or a training camp like the players do, but it's for refs. You know what I mean? Everybody getting on the same. There's just something that has to be done, man, because I'm tired of it bastardizing the game. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. These, it's like the play by Dobbs against the Jaguars. I mean, and you might disagree. You might say it was a fumble, and I don't know what your thoughts on it were, but in my eyes, that damn ball was a pass. I mean, it was just like, I don't know, it just blows my mind. And you take literally, the play was reviewed. With what? Nobody reviewed it. It's like, it just blows my mind. And then you look, you pair it up with when Tom Brady did it, when Derek Carr did it, and you're calling it differently. That's what I'm saying. Be more consistent in what you do. And maybe, just maybe, if you're more consistent, you're not going to have as many people saying the damn thing's rigged or this and that, especially considering you're involved in the gambling now. You got irons in that fire. So maybe make it a point to harp on consistency, to harp on good officiating. So people aren't doing this. And the players now are making a joke of it. You had Aaron Foster come out and say he got scripts. It was a bunch of bull crap. I mean, it was a big joke that he did that. A lot of people still think he was being for real, but I don't know, man. Anyways, I guess enough on that. It probably won't ever change. Who knows?
It changes little by little, and that's probably the best we'll get. We'll just get little small snippets. They'll talk about it. They'll say, this is this, this is that. They'll put some rule in play that sucks, and then they'll have to change it again, just like being able to challenge PI. So it's just going to be one of those things. That was a disaster. It's 2 steps forward, 3 back.
Right. Titan the Tiger says Josh Allen did the same thing. It was Josh Allen. And Josh Dobbs looked a lot better. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. It just drives me nuts, man. It really does. It drives me nuts, but it is what it is. So anyways, guys, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. We've had 100 people in here the whole night. That's for a Tuesday night off-season live show. I'll take it.
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. And Mike, let them know where to find you. I've kind of told them throughout the show, but let them know where to find you. Let them know kind of what you got going on and all that type of stuff.
Well, Rossi, once again, thanks for having me on the show. Always love talking football. Always love just sitting down and just getting to shoot the breeze, man. And once again, happy belated birthday. But guys,
thank you so much, sir.
No problem, buddy. But make sure you follow me on all my platforms on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at the Power Hour 615. I do a show every Monday night. Got one out now. You want to watch something just to fall asleep? Go ahead and follow that way. But make sure you hit the 20-minute mark. I had some sound problems, so I'll just let you know that. I mess up sometimes, so, I just roll with the punches. But realistically, once again, thank you guys. You made the show fantastic. And, of course, being a part of the Tighten Up Low Network, we got a lot of big things coming up this year. So the off-season's kicked off, Rossi, but business is booming for us.
Yeah, man, we're excited about everything that's going to be going on, and we're going to bring it to you first. If we hear it first, we're going to bring it to you first, guys. So follow me on Twitter at Titans Rossi. We've almost hit 5,000 followers on Twitter. Check out Titans for Life on YouTube. Titans Time Podcast, good friend of the show, as I was at his house for the Super Bowl. Check out Titans and Truth as well. Titans and Truth, the good friend of the network. And of course, the Power Hour. Check out Draft Brian, too, and Titan Upload. So we got a lot of people you need to follow. So I think you're muted there.
Oh, also shout out to Ryan Harris of the Jump Pass Podcast. Make sure you follow him, Ryan. Anywhere you find all your podcasts at.
Yep, of course. And we've got so many people a part of this thing now. It's hard to keep up with everybody. And James, Titans for Life, follow him too. So we're talking about yeah, we're talking about we're gonna have a meeting soon. I think, you know, we might try and get like a centralized channel put together where, you know, maybe we all put our stuff on kind of one channel, or at least where we're putting clips of our on one channel. So y'all stay tuned for that. We'll try and get that figured out. But anyways, tighten up, everybody. Thank you so much. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you next time.